Hi again, for your attention, Jira Fundamentals training. Jira Agile is a topic of the 5th module. Today we'll talk about Scrum board. On top of every Jira board, we can see its name and quick filters. On the right, you have buttons to move across board pages. Backlog, available in Scrum boards only, active sprints, and reports. The board button opens a menu from which we can go to a configuration section, copy the existing board, or create a new board. Depending on our current page, backlog or active sprint, we can show or hide display of the details, versions, epics, and other issue details, and also show or hide swim lanes. Jira Scrum board has 3 parts: backlog, active sprints, and reports. Let's start from the backlog. Within the backlog, we can create the following items for the next iteration sprints: new versions, epics, different types of issues, reorder issues according to their priorities, readiness to be implemented, or being a part of a particular function. We can view, edit, and do many other things with issues. Below, we will discuss them in more detail. Let's have a closer look at working with versions. To open a versions section, click Versions in the left corner of the Scrum board in the backlog mode. So, to create a new version on Rapid board, do the following. Hover over the Versions section and click Create Version. Type a name of a version, and if needed, you may add a description, specify a start date and a release date. After all the necessary information is added, click Create, or if you do not need it, click Cancel. For more information about the version statuses and actions, see in the first module. There are 3 different ways to view issues regarding their versions. The first one, All issues. All issues from the current board will be displayed regardless if they belong to a particular version or not. The next one is to choose a certain version. In this case, only issues belonging to a certain version will be displayed. The last one, Issues without versions. This view is used to search for issues that have not yet been distributed between versions. To view a version, open it. Here you can change version name, add or edit its descriptions, set start and release dates, and view information about the whole number of issues in the version, number of completed issues, number of unestimated issues, and the total issues estimate. You can also view the progress of the whole version for issues completeness. Now, let's consider work with epics. To open the epics section, click Epics in the left corner of the Scrum board in the backlog mode. To create a new epic on a Rapid board, do the following. Hover over the Epics section and click Create Epic. Similarly to other issues in Jira, here you can select a project for which you create an epic. You can select an issue type. In our case, it is epic by default. Then, there are 2 required fields: epic name, short name that makes this epic distinct from the others, and summary, another epic name field where you can type a longer name. If you need to fill in other fields, for example add issue description or attach files for the requirements, click Configure Fields and then click All. After everything is set, click Create, or if an epic is not needed, click Cancel. Similarly, as when creating an other issue, it's possible to create another epic by selecting Create Another checkbox. There are 3 different ways to view issues regarding epics. The first one, All issues. All issues from the current board will be displayed regardless if they belong to a particular epic or not. The next one is to choose a certain epic. In this case, only issues belonging to a certain epic will be displayed. The last one, Issues without epics. This view is used to search for issues that have not yet been distributed between epochs. To view an epoch, open it. Here you can change epoch color, go to the epoch edit mode, and view information about the whole number of issues in the epoch, number of completed issues, number of unestimated issues, and the total issues estimate. Here you can create a new epoch by opening a corresponding dialog box, view the pages list, or add Confluence pages containing documentation about the epoch. You can also view the progress of the whole epoch for issues completeness. The next part will be about working with issues. It consists of two parts: working with the issues list and a possibility to view detailed information about the issue. So let's start with the first part. I do not have any sprint created yet, so I can see all issues in the backlog. The first thing worth mentioning is that only issues of the top level are displayed. Sub-issues are not shown. But when we view issue details, we can see information about its sub-issues. What can we do with issues? Reorder issues, change their priorities, simply drag issues. By clicking the right mouse button, we can move the issue to the beginning or the end of a backlog, add flag. It is used to mark problematic issues. View in Issue Navigator. View in Excel. Go to Issues Bulk Change. Also, when one or more sprints are created, we can move issues into it. When viewing issues, you can see which versions and epochs they belong to. First, go Versions and then Epochs. You can also estimate each issue. Creating and working with sprints. Only users with administrative rights can create new sprints in Jira. To create a new sprint, click Create Sprint. Any sprint has the following elements: name of sprint that can be edited at any time during sprint existence until its completion. We recommend using the project name in the name of the sprint so that you do not mix your own sprints with someone else's ones. As a sprint belongs neither to the project nor the board, you may accidentally select someone else's sprint while editing your issue. Information about the number of issues in the sprint. Start Sprint button. If there are no issues in the sprint, it is unavailable. Delete Sprint button, clicking on which a confirmation message appears where you have to confirm the deletion. Similarly as for epochs, you can add linked pages from Confluence where documentation for the sprint is posted. The next element is the body of the sprint, where too you can drag issues. Next comes the information about the number of issues in the sprint and their overall estimate. To start the sprint, click Start Sprint. Here you can edit the name of the sprint and change its start and end dates. Then click Start or Cancel. For now, you can activate one sprint on a dashboard only. However, you can create as many sprints as you need for planning purposes. The sequence of sprints activation is not controlled. After the sprint started, you will see statistics in the upper right corner that shows number of issues that are not yet started, number of issues that are now being developed, number of completed issues, sub-issues are also counted. The last part of a backlog section is Issue View. To view information about any issue, click it. Here you will see project it belongs to and issue number, issue name that you can edit, issue estimate. In the Details section, you can view the information about issue status, its components, tags, versions, and an epoch that the issue belongs to. You can remove the relation to an epoch here if needed. In the next section, People, you can see the information about the person who created the issue and the assignee. In the Dates section, there is information about issue creation data and the date when it was last updated. The Links section can contain links to other issues or related documentation. Here you can edit or add issue description, view or leave a comment, or attach a file. The last section is Subtasks. Here you can view sub-issues or add new ones. In addition, click the Parameters button to be able to do the following with the issues: edit it, assign a responsible person, log work, move an issue to the top or to the bottom of the list, attach a file, watch the issue, create subtasks, add a link, add a flag to mark problematic issues. In More Actions, you can select other actions, such as moving an issue between statuses. To close this section, click the cross icon in the upper right corner. That's all about working with backlog. Now, let's move to working with issues. Active Sprints section. Information in this section is about sprints. Here you can view the details of the sprint. You can click Sprint Name to edit it and change its date. Available quick filters come next. Depending on your Rapid board setup, it will display the corresponding number of columns with issues. The selected type of horizontal grouping will divide issues into groups. I have selected a story type, so all the sub-issue of a certain story appear underneath. Stories that do not have any sub-issues or that are hidden because of the chosen filter will be displayed all together under Everything Else. Right-click the issue to open a menu with additional options. Add Remove Flag for problematic issues. View in Issue Navigator. Go to Issue Bulk Change. To change issue status, simply drag it into the needed column. The columns of the status that the issues can't get into are highlighted during dragging. For some statuses, you must fill in several required fields before you can change issue status to it, for example, a comment. Then a dialog box with the required fields opens. Complete all the required fields and then click the button with the name of an intended status. Similarly, as in the Backlog module, here we can view issue details. For this, first click the issue. Here you can also view sub-issue details. The last part of this demo is working with the Scrum board reports. To open it, click Reports. The first report is Burn Down chart. We can choose either active or close sprints to view its details. Having chosen a sprint on a chart, and depending on the selected estimation type, you will see a chart in the corresponding units. I have story points selected and the time record is turned off. If I turn it on, I will see the data with regards to time. Gray line shows how the work should be done to finish it till the end of the sprint. Green line represents the spent time. Red line shows the remaining time planned to be spent on the development. Holidays are marked with gray color, and you can hide them if needed. Below, there is a table with all issues. Issues with which the sprint began, changes in status, estimated and spent time, and issues with which the sprint was finished. The next one is Sprint Report. Here we can select a sprint, view information about its status, dates, linked pages, and a possibility to search for issues in the sprint. On the chart, gray line represents ideal case, red line stands for completed tasks, and green for the logged time. In the table, you can see three groups of issues: completed, not completed, and removed from sprint. For each issue, you can see its key, summary, type, priority, status, and estimate in the corresponding values. story points in my case. Also, if an issue was added to the sprint after the sprint started, it will be marked by a gray star next to the key. Epic report. Select the needed epic. Here you can see information about its key, name, linked pages. On the chart, you can see the number of estimated and completed story points, the total number of issues, the number of unestimated issues, and non-working days. In the table, the data is shown by categories: completed and incompleted issues and incomplete, unestimated issues. Each issue, you can see its key, summary, type, priority, status, and estimate in the corresponding values. Story points in my case. Epic burndown. Shows the progress of your team with regards to the epics. This report shows the information according to the estimation type used on your board. With this report, you can see how fast your team is working within the epic. You can see how the work that was added or removed from the sprints affects the overall progress of the team. Anticipate how many sprints it will take to complete the work on the epic, based on previous sprints and changes during those sprints. Version report. Select the needed version. Here you can see version name and status. You can also search for issues in the current version. On the chart, view the data about the total number of story points, completed story points, non-working days, and the percentage of unestimated issues. In the table, the data is shown by categories: completed and incompleted issues, and incomplete unestimated issues. For each issue, you can see its key, summary, type, priority, status, and estimate in the corresponding values. Story points in my case. Release burndown. Shows the progress of your team with regards to versions. This report shows the information according to the estimation type used on your board. With this report, you can see how fast your team is working within the backlog. You can see how the work that was added or removed from the sprints affects the overall progress of the team. Anticipate how many sprints it will take to complete the work on the epic based on previous sprints and changes during those sprints. Velocity chart. Velocity chart shows data for the last 7 sprints in the form of a chart and a table displaying the planned and completed work for the sprints. Control charts. Show us the length of the cycle or implementation for your product, version, or sprint. The horizontal scale shows time, and the vertical, number of days during which the issue was in the status. This report helps to identify whether the data that we see in the final sprint can be used to predict team speed. The smaller the difference in the length of the cycle, the more confidently we can use the mean or median as an indicator of future work. Cumulative flow diagram. Cumulative report shows issue statuses by epics for a product, version, or sprint. Horizontal line shows the time, and vertical the issues. If your report has very long time spans in a certain status, it can mean that you should pay attention, because it may cause delays. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next part of this module about the Kanban board.